I got to meet a great activist in New Jersey, Weed Man. I hope I'm saying his name right. I went to so it's a restaurant, Sanctuary, and he's trying to build entertainment. And next week, that market's really going to open. It's really going to be cool to see, does someone really jump on top of legalization of marijuana and combining, maybe a dispensary with a comedy club right next door. And I don't know where they're going down the road. Like, I don't know where it's going, right? Can you smoke publicly? Can you smoke outside the joint? Can you smoke inside a separate place and then go into the showroom? Or can you smoke, could they build a room outside and then you walk back in after you smoke to watch the show? Will it become a thing, is what I'm saying. Will weed and comedy become a thing, something that can be franchised or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Will it become like, there's been different comedy booms throughout history. Yeah. Maybe there's only been 2 or 3, I don't know. But could this be another comedy boom that's going to happen in New Jersey because they're the first ones that understand that you combine the two for a great environment? Like, just add everything. He's adding everything in. He's adding, they want to put bands outside and they want to create, place to smoke and then come inside. And it's crazy the potential of it. Again, I couldn't do any of it. Like, even when talking to Ed, this great activist, he's running so much. He has so much on his plate. And I was like, I'm being like I am with you. I'm like, we should do a live stream together. I would love, you should have guests come in here and sit down with you. You're a legend. You're an activist. And he's like, dude, I run a business, man. I got too many things. My plate is full. I don't really have time for that. But I'm like, you don't understand the gravitas you have. You don't understand dude, this guy got arrested by the police and then defended himself. I would have crumbled. I would have been crying. I would have been, I probably would have got off because I'm a white guy. But I'm just saying, I could not do what this guy has done. And I really, truly did go there to meet him and be around him. And I was awkward and starstruck. And I don't get starstruck. I wasn't starstruck by Conan O'Brien. I knew I had to ask him, and I didn't want to offend him and his family. He was there with his wife and kids, but I wasn't starstruck. I was like, I got to talk to this guy. But with this other guy, I was like, this guy fought the law. This guy's no joke. He's not afraid of anything. I was like, this guy, and he's sitting there at the front of the table. He doesn't really. I don't know if he laughed at any of my material, and he's commenting from the stage, which was good. I like the weirdness of. I like alternative style shows. Like, again, and this speaks to what you say, is like, so what you say is like, I don't like watching everybody doing the same fucking stupid podcast live stream dynamic. It's boring to me. And I get that. And that's why last night was so cool. I'm in a sanctuary across from the Trenton Police Department, which I find out later was raided. Everybody's I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but people are smoking weed, and weed is there, and it's a thing, and it's the thrust of the evening. And it was.
Well, we're talking about a guy whose name is Weed Man, so it's not.
Yeah, I guess it's okay.
This is the Sanctuary. Obviously, it's weed themed. It's called NJ Weed Man's Joint. Do you know how many people's lives have been ruined over those weed laws? That's how I got my start. I was arrested for marijuana, and it ruined my life. And I've always been speaking out about it ever since.
Okay, but I get it, but I have trouble just even talking about. Like, another thing, I seriously do still have anxiety. Right. What should say? What am I supposed to say, not say? I don't want to screw up his lifestyle, whatever. I don't want to bring undue attention to him. And then we're on this cusp. You're telling me in a couple days weed's going to be legal in New Jersey. And again, for me and my social anxiety and for my pain issues, I would like to dabble down the road if it was okay with my job. I don't know if it's legally okay, so it's not something I'm doing right now, but it's something I definitely think about every day when I wake up. And I do have a vape pen full of CBD oil, which has no THC in it. I do, and I have been vaping in January. I don't know if it really works. Maybe it helps me sleep, but I've had the same pod since January. It's now March. So I don't know if I'm hitting it hard enough or whatever, but I vape too, man. So, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Again, I felt like last night too is like, Curtis, the thing about me is I've always felt like I don't fit in anywhere. Whenever I go somewhere, I never feel like I fit in. I never feel like this is my home. Like I've done improv with UCB, and I went there and I loved the vibe, but I didn't feel like I fit in. like people looked at me like, what's this dude doing here? And when I go to a showroom that says weed man, everybody's smoking weed, I had to tell them I'm not a narc. When I got on stage, I'm like, I know I probably look like a narc, and that was the other thing. I'm like, I want to relieve everybody's tension. Like, I'm not a narc, I'm a security guard. Everybody just calm the F down. So if you're feeling a weird vibe, because I'm trying to get these people to, and it was weird. I do feel like I had
the interview. Where do you live, Mr. Matt Stuick? Right down on 21 Jump Street. But go on.
But again, that could be my internal fear. I don't know how they see me, but that's what my brain is telling me. I'm on stage. I'm wearing the same exact outfit. I had like a wristband on that protects my wrist. So I'm like, I'm looking like this. I don't know what I appear to them, but I'm trying to soften myself, and I'm trying to get the audience to like me. And I didn't do a lot of hosting. I didn't go into the audience. I was really just doing straight up material because, again, I didn't feel comfortable roasting people in the audience or making fun of them. And I just didn't want to do that. And I didn't make fun of the comics, which sometimes you do if they do bad or good. I tried to not be a dick from the stage. And I wished if my lifestyle, if I was just a comic and could smoke up. So that's the other thing about Arj Barker. He's a big pot smoker. So I felt bad that Pete Holmes I thought this guy's a pretty progressive, sentimental, sensitive guy, and Pete Holmes was just thrashing him after a bad set. And again, I would love to be able to smoke up all the way during the show and see what kind of effect it has. See if it goes off the rails. See if it helps. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's like, again, it's very experimental. And so when you talk about some of the things that you talk about, I totally get you, man. And I can't argue with you because I think you're right. But it still doesn't. Still, I'm not going to say I'm not pissed off at you every day. I'm like, we should be doing this. It's so natural. People think what we do, people think that what we do, talking like this, is like anybody can do it. Not true. Well, it's a very difficult thing to do, too.
I just want to say, I don't really care that you think you're mad at me or whatever. As long as you think I'm right. Oh, yeah.
I don't think
kombucha, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're right.
You and I are in some weird quantum mirrored existence.
A lot of times. People wouldn't relate. And that's, again, like, why doesn't he see that? Why doesn't he know it? It's weird. It's a weird chemistry that I have with nobody. And dude, I hate to fawn. I hate to say that. Because I was doing the same thing with, I was like, I hate to blow pot smoke up your ass, weed man, but I literally think I'm starstruck. I'm literally intimidated by you. Like, I'm fucking scared right now. Like, he fought the law 5 times. He went to jury 5 times. He defended himself 5, could have went away for 10 years. And he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to stand up here and talk to this jury and get myself out of this charge. I would have been crying. I would have been cowering. I would have been in jail.
His experience, too, is probably, part of that. The fact that, you said he's a Rastafarian, Jamaican, or what?
Well, that so I don't know what it's called because the woman kept saying to us it's a 401c. It's some sort of religious loophole that they're using to create the sanctuary, so it's protected because. Oh
yeah, those are
I wish I knew those. I hate when I do the show and then I don't have my shit together.
Well, those are like legal statuses, like nonprofits and stuff, 501.
Right. So it's similar to what the church.
The fact that you mentioned a quick side diversion, because you were talking about vaping and everything else and CBD and THC, which I thought was, Dolby sound, surround sound, but all these different things. I was watching this documentary where there's a frog. I can't think of the name, Bulov something.
El fluido extraído de las glándulas parótides del bufo alvarius es secado y al momento de secarse, esa es la materia prima que utilizamos como medicina.
La bufotenina, extraída de las glándulas del sapo, no es una sustancia tan potente, pero cuando hay combustión su estructura química cambia y se convierte en 5-meo-DMT.
Y la manera de la extracción, que es sin causarle ningún daño al bufo alvarius, entonces esta es la medicina, pero si te das cuenta no sufre ningún daño.
It's a frog that has they look like little warts, pus holes, and you squeeze them, and it doesn't, but it looks like you're popping a zit on the frog, and the secretion from the frog, it's DMT basically. DMT.
This is the thing that Joe Rogan talks about all the fucking time.
I didn't know that. but it's a super.
Gotta watch good shows, man. Gotta watch good shows. Gotta watch the Masters.
Oh,
Come on, man.
I did see at least a clip of that. Now that I know about it.
Yeah, DMT. Mike Tyson does DMT.
Yeah, but see, this guy was. Anyway, people were traveling to this frog because this DMT from the frog, it's so psychedelic. It's so hallucinogenic. And I was so mesmerized by this because it's not legal in the United States. A lot of these places have banned it. But you can go to Brazil, et cetera, and you can go to certain churches. Like there's a couple of churches in the United States that have a special, probably a 401c, where they can use this DMT, et cetera, as part of their religious rituals. And I was like, oh, I want to go do that, because the way that people were describing it in all of their experiences, it's like everybody was like, you feel love, and it was like dying and then being reborn. And on that, which sounds like some psychedelic hippie stuff, right? But what scientists have been, I've connected these two things. What scientists have been saying, the human brain has essentially DMT in the brain, but it never is activated unless it's some very fearful situation, you're severe pain, you're
on death,
distress.
When you're on the verge of death, right? I mean,
exactly. And so the way that they describe it is you know, and people talk about bright lights and everything when they died. Some people think maybe all of those chemicals are kicking into their brain, and you're seeing all these different things. And other people are, you know, saying it's a religious experience, and then they come back to life, etc. But I go, I want that. You know, I want that experience. I want to see what that feels like. So I texted a friend of mine who's like, she's like she knows all that, the drugs and everything else. And I don't do drugs, anything. I've done like weed a couple of times in my life. And so I go, and one of the things she does is she searches for mushrooms. She goes on mushrooms hunt, not to smoke them or anything, but she is all about that stuff. So I said, have you ever found any psychedelic mushrooms? And I asked her all these questions, and she's like, why are you asking me these questions? I'm like, well, I saw this documentary, and so I'm like, I want to see what that psychedelic hallucinogenic experience is about. I want to do it once, and I can't go to wherever these frogs are, but maybe I could go visit one of these little religious retreats where it's legal and sample it, because I'm just a curious person. But so all those things you were saying just reminded me of that, and that was the only diversion. I want to experience it at least once as part of my understanding of how things work.
That's interesting. And on that note, I want to run and get my vape pen and I'll come back and I'll answer. So just take a quick vape break. Hold on.
We are now breaking on WCRJ 95. Coming up on the hour, we have Stone Temple Pilots for you 90s fans, a tip of the hat to the front man. And this hour is sponsored by Vape Sauce.
So what scares me a little bit is this thing pops and snaps a little bit. I'm like, is this thing going to explode in my face?
Oh,
so again,
a Juul, right? A Juul?
Yeah, a Juul. Yeah.
See, I have a Juul. I got Juul, then I upgraded to this. Yeah. So
again, I would tell you that this happened because my whole family started to vape. So I was like, I want to in. You know, like if you're going to be spending money on vape, then I'm doing it. So they got me this for New Year's Eve, and I would say that I've always wanted to be a smoker. I always thought it was cool. Could never smoke. Could never inhale. So now this is something I can do, but I don't know if it does anything.
But yours is cool. Yours is maroon. I didn't even know. I guess they started that in 2019. They were all black, the Juul.
Oh, yeah, you like that, huh? So that's that's cool. Huh? I got a red Juul.
No, I
get confused, like what's a Juul and what's a pod. I'm a newbie. Same with pot. I don't know anything. Like I don't.
Well, the pot. This is a man walking around talking about THC and UCB, which is the comedy.
Oh yeah, Upright Citizens Brigade, which is it's where a lot of I believe I want to say it was, I don't know if did Tina Fey come out of there too? Tina Fey,
maybe, but they're from Second City, yeah.
The Second City.
At least they've gone through UCB, but I think their passage was through Second City.
Hey, Matt, can we stop up at Friendly's on the way home? I got a wicked craving for a cribble.
Jesus Christ, Evie, you just said 10 pieces of cheese at Hickory Farms.
Matt, you're gonna give me a negative body image, alright? Seriously, 7 out of 10 teenage girls have a negative body image.
Yeah, well, 6 of them girls are right.
A lot of famous people have come through UCB just recently. I now all their names are escaping me, so I'm not sure. But yeah.
Sounds like a comedy university. Where'd you graduate from?
UCB is an improv school, and I suggest that if people are into any kind of want to do something creative, it's a really good system. It's called the Herald. But anyways, if you're into that, check it out. I don't want to. It's something. It costs money, obviously. You take classes and you do improv.
You do need to know this. The tip of your jewel, that is the pod where you put your juice in.
Right, yeah.
The whole thing is, some people call them vape pens, yada, yada, yada. We're an educational show.
I mean, and again, I don't know if it does anything. I think it's really cool. I've always wanted to smoke. When I used to play poker, I'd always want to just have a cigarette in my mouth, like Sammy. Oh my God, I'm gonna forget his name. There's a famous poker player that would always carry an unlit cigarette in his mouth.
Sam Farha is still breathing, so
I always liked Clint Eastwood. I always liked the idea of smoking for all the wrong reasons that they worry about kids. All the reasons why they worry about kids liking smoking. That's why I like smoking.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. They created that cool image, so it seems cool, right? If someone just was walking around with a shoe in their mouth, people would go, "What the hell's wrong with this guy?"
Right. But it's embarrassing that I remember buying Tipperillos and doing whatever I could to look like Clint Eastwood, and I just couldn't. I didn't like the smoke. So this smells like I don't know what flavor this is, but I can only compare it to so people can relate. It's like cotton candy. It says inhaling cotton candy, so I was like, it's right down my alley. Yeah, can I inhale cotton candy? Sure, I'm on board.
Well, the difference between what you're smoking is because it has the nicotine salts like mine, and the first vape pens, if you want to call them. I don't know if they call. I forget what you call them, but the nicotine in those are different. Like the vapor that comes out is different. What you're smoking is more for smokers, more for people who want the true smoking experience, and for people who are trying to quit smoking, because the earlier versions, the salt is not nicotine salt. So you're smoking the right one to get that sort of authentic feel and draw and everything else. And so these are all the latest rage.
I don't know if we've done anything comical with this stuff, but except that I wanted to be Clint Eastwood and I wanted to do the voice and I wanted, that was definitely always like, that'll be cool, even though I'm not that person inside. But the next step too, besides THC and vaping that I'm learning about, which I don't know if I can dabble in, is tinctures, right? So these people make tinctures where they put THC into alcohol and let it rest, and then they're taking like drops of it. And you can, with CBD tinctures, you can give it to your dog if it's having stress-related conditions. So yeah, they give CBD to their dogs. I mean, you learn so much when you go to these places, and you're just like, what? And again, with THC, it would be a journey, like you said. With DMT and THC, with THC particularly, you got to find the strain that works for you. And I've smoked pot throughout my life and had many different reactions. So I was saying that, when I was in college, when I was in college, I went to a party, off-campus party with my girlfriend at the time. I don't know anybody there except for my girlfriend. She's gone away to school. Maybe there's stress involved. And I smoked weed, which I barely ever did, and I drank. And I ended up getting into a fight with a kid because he was trying to leave with the extra pizza that I felt like wasn't his. So I don't know if I can blame the crossfade. I don't know if I can blame the alcohol or the weed, but after I fight this kid, literally I split his lip, he breaks my chain, we knock over a boom box, and then I'm in the basement of the place crying. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I fought that guy for the pizza. I don't know what. And like, so you're going through all, these all do have real effects. And I would assume that it isn't good to crossfade sometimes. You might heighten your depression, or you might heighten action. So you're constantly chasing, this medicinal property that may or may not work for you. I've heard so many different stories of people's reactions of smoking pot. I know one of my ex-girlfriends smoked pot, and then she felt like she had bugs all over her, and she like ruined everybody's good time at this place where they were. They went away to like some house for the weekend, and she smokes up, and she's freaking out. She's like my first girlfriend, and she ruins the whole vibe of the place. And I've had girls break up with me in the middle of smoking with them. Like they'll be smoking, and they'll be like, dude, we need to break up. I'm like, what if this weed smoker's breaking up with me in the middle of just this conversation? He's like, yeah, don't call me, don't text me. I'm like, what is happening here? Is it the weed is talking right now? Like you would break up with me?
The vocal fry.
Yeah.
Did she sound like that? Did she have that vocal fry?
Yeah. She's trying to hold it. Like they talk to you while they're holding their professional. Right. Yeah, let me tell you something. They're trying to hold in their lungs and talk. It's the best. It's the coolest thing when you see someone do that. Like, oh, this guy he's a professional pot smoker, man. He's no joke.
I have a good friend who I've known her for decades, and I'm still friends with her today. But she's a college friend, and I just was so attracted to her. She was just so cool, and she had this long black hair and cool boots and everything else, and she was into weed and all that kind of stuff. And then I went to a party with her, and one day she had one of those, I sound like a 12-year-old, but one of those pipes, that you blow the thing in.
The bong.
The bong, thank you. I'm really not cool. And
you sounded like a dad right there.
And I was like, turn down your music and get out of my yard. But I was at the party.
Two dads talking hot talk.
Right.
Jeez. I'm two 53-year-old men trying to be there, but I'm taking stuff out the pipe and.
Right. And I was like, you shouldn't do that. That's going to.
I got my work pants on, and I'm going to work with this pipe. Okay, it's a bong. I would just say to you, just to stop your story, the only time that I've truly gotten really high is through bong rips. I've never gotten high through a joint. It had to be because of smoothness. You can take much more into your lungs. The times that I've really been high might have been once or twice in my whole life, really super high. And a good high was from bong rips. So go on.
You've gone from knowing what the hell a bong rip is to, I don't know what the difference is with the pod and the vape and the pod vape and the vape. So,
but I think, again, that's all material that I should work on because my awkwardness is always there. I look like this person, but it's my internal dialogue is a mess, constantly a mess. And if I could just get that on paper and then bring it to the stage, it works. But this is me every day of my life.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think, there's, lemon and to eliminate. What you have, all that energy, it really is a gift. It's just you haven't yet figured out how to unwrap it. And if you put all of that into your comedy, not even if you're not trying to get famous, you're not trying to go long term, but that's where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to, because everything you say, which is filled with anxiety and self-doubt and all these things, it's universal.
My comedy from the beginning, I grew up, I was a real introvert. I had anxiety and panic attacks. I had no social skills whatsoever. So anytime I got on stage, and the fact that I even ever stood on a stage when I couldn't be in front of, even at the bus stop waiting to go to school, I was panicking. It was like torture. So it's like every single opportunity I'd have to get up there, I'd want to commit everything I had because I loved it. I hated being off stage. I was more scared in life than I was of how I felt on stage. And I think that's permeated my entire career of like, I got to take full advantage of this while I can be out here and feeling this, the bravado that comes with standing on stage.